Hi, everyone. I'm Brian with Collaborative Home Care. One of the hardest conversations families have centers around one simple question. Is it time? Is it time to bring in help? Is it time to stop driving? Is it time to consider senior living? These decisions are emotional, they're layered, and they rarely come with a clear answer. So today I'm joined by Jane Fisher from Oasis Senior Advisors. Jane is a senior living advisor and she works with families every day who are trying to figure out what the next chapter should look like and how to make that transition thoughtfully and safely. Jane, thank you for joining us. Let's start with a big one. How do families know when it's time to consider senior living?
Yeah, that's a question that we talk with families about every day. And it's complicated. There are often several signs that lead a family member to think it might be time for mom, dad, or spouse to not be living in the home anymore. Some of those signs often are related to appearance. So it could be that somebody who was always really put together doesn't look as sharp as they used to. Might see soiled clothes or somebody who hasn't had a shower, their hair's a mess, and that's not typical for them. Or going into the home, we might see the same thing. A house that was always meticulously maintained suddenly is looking kind of messy. Sometimes we don't see good, healthy food in the house, or we see spoiled food in the fridge. That can also be a signal. Sometimes people also start to isolate and not get out to see their friends anymore. And we like to probe on that a little bit too and see what's causing that. Isolation isn't healthy for us. Sometimes it can be that people are uncomfortable getting out. Maybe physically, they lack confidence to be out and about, or maybe nervous about driving. My mom stopped going to the senior center suddenly, and that was really a concern. We found out that she had a fender bender, and so she was nervous about driving. She made a good decision to stop driving as a result of that, but we needed to find ways for her to continue to be engaged. So we look for a lot of those different signs. Unpaid bills is also common. Suddenly the credit card doesn't work. Somebody forgot or doesn't know how to pay bills anymore. Often it's a combination of those signs.
Yeah, I love that answer. We see a lot of similarities when we're having those conversations with families as well. I think one thing that families don't realize is that they don't have to figure this out alone, right? So for someone who's never worked with a senior living advisor before, what does a senior living advisor do? And how are you different than families just calling communities on their own and setting up tours?
Thanks for asking that question because we think we really are different. Every family's different, and all the communities are a little bit different one from another. So, the first thing that we like to do is to get to know the whole person and the family. We have a kind of beautiful intake process where either by phone or in a one on one meeting, we really take the time to get to know the client. We want to find out not just about their care needs, of course, that's super important, but we also want to know who they are, who's the whole person. So if they are somebody who's a foodie, and we have the opportunity to go on tours with them at communities, we're going to make sure that they get to talk to the chef and have a meal at the community. We also want to find out what activities they like to do. We have some clients who tell us, you know, don't show me any place that doesn't have mahjong, or I want to be able to be in a community that has weekly rosary service. Whatever that amenity or program is important. Transportation is a really nice feature about these communities. So we want to know, where are their medical providers? Are we sure the community can provide the transportation that's needed so that the clients, the residents can get to their medical appointments? We also talk a lot about geography. What location makes the most sense? Sometimes people want to be close to where they are now, but other times they might want to move to be closer to friends or family that are in a different part of the state or a different part of the country. So we can help even across those lines. And then budget is really important. So the communities have different pricing structures, and we explain that to the clients and be sure that we're introducing them to communities that fit within their budget, sometimes even introduce them to resources that might help with finances that they don't know about. So once we really know the whole person, what we love to do is to go on tours of the communities with our clients. We start with just a couple. We don't overwhelm by sending them, 15 communities to consider. Let's take a look at three or four. We like to think of ourselves as great matchmakers. So let's start with three or four communities. We'll go on tours with you. Make sure you're hearing all about the community, not just, seeing the beautiful front entrance, but getting all your questions answered. Can't do that necessarily with an online service.
No, no, you can. No, that's great. And as a quick follow-up, I think one major benefit to families that you and your service and your expertise is that it comes at no cost to your clients who you advise, right?
Right, right. So thank you for bringing that up. So we don't ever bill our clients. So we are paid when a client has a move into a community. The community pays us essentially like a finder's fee for that. And I like to talk honestly about that with the clients. We're transparent about that. There's no cost to them, but we're not incentivized by the communities. So it's not like we're working with one differently than the other and we're going to guide a client toward a community to benefit us. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that's great. That's great because then you're directing families to the place, to the community that's best for them. All right. And one last question that maybe can save families a lot of time and hopefully stress. What's the biggest mistake you see families make when navigating their senior living decision?
Sometimes we think people wait too long to start thinking about senior living communities. And we can work with families who need to find options very quickly. There are times when there might be somebody in a skilled nursing facility and needs to move out into a community very quickly. We can make that happen in as little as a day or two. If people start to think earlier, understanding that it might not be now, it might not be next month, but in the not too distant future, somebody may need to make a move into a senior living community. Let's start looking at them now so that we can understand what the communities are, what they offer, what they cost, and then we can help make a more informed decision rather than waiting for a crisis and doing it quick and maybe not have as many options. The other thing I like to mention is that we can guide families not just to finding the right community, but there are a lot of moving pieces that are in place once they've selected a community. So we can help with figuring out how to make the move, how to downsize the home and make a move into a smaller living space, finding a realtor, a move manager, all those pieces as well. So yeah, I would say the sooner families start to work with a senior living advisor, the more options they have and the easier and smoother the process can be.
Yep, no, I agree. I think similarly, we do talk to a lot of families who come to us in a crisis, and if you can spend the time to plan when there isn't one, then oftentimes you make a better decision and get a better outcome. Jane, thank you so much for your time today. For someone who's watching this who might be in that exact moment, they're unsure, they're overwhelmed, maybe just starting to ask these questions, what's the best way for them to reach you?
So we'd love to talk by phone. The number is 475-775-0212. Best email address for me is jfisher@youroasisadvisor.com. And you can also look for our website. It's easy enough to find by Oasis Senior Advisors, Central Connecticut is the best website for us as well.
Yeah, I think what stands out is that these decisions don't have to be rushed and they don't have to be made in isolation, right? There are professionals who can guide you and families through this thoughtfully, whether that next step is staying at home a little longer or transitioning to senior living. So we'll include Jane's contact info below, but as always, if you have any questions about care at home or that bridge between home and senior living and what that looks like, we're here to help. Have a wonderful day.